guys, it's Target Cycle and FPV, and we are now doing part 4 of our FrSky setup video series. And what we just got done doing is we did 1, 2, and 3, and the last one, 3, was getting our memory stick ready to insert into our radio and getting our radio ready to plug into the computer, right? So let me, I don't remember actually if I changed the screen from where we left off. I think I might have. But in either case, let me just show you where we're at here, okay? And I'm actually going to, I'm going to just put the radio on the screen right now. So here's my QX7, right? Okay, so here's the memory slot right here, and here's my memory card that we just created, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in, and remember it's gonna go labeled down, right? So whatever's written on, you're gonna go with the notches to the left, right? So just put it to where the words are down, put it in there, and it's gonna snap in like kind of a spring-loaded snap in, and then you can close this. Now I cut the end of my piece off here because I wanted to be able to get to my USB port without having to open this flap all the time, okay? But in either case, you need to have that plugged in, or the SD card inserted, before you do anything else, all right? Now we're ready to plug our radio in to the computer. But to do that, we have to do a series of steps. The first is we're gonna call these our sub trims, okay? So these are our sub trims down here, and then we have another set up here. We're gonna take these 2 sub trims and we're gonna press them in. I'm gonna turn this so I get my hands on this properly. So you basically will take it, and I'm gonna turn it like this, I guess. Press these 2 in to where when you're pushing them, they're coming in together. And at the same time, now you're gonna press the power button. But when you do, once you press it, you're gonna let all 3 go at the same time. Watch. Hold these in, press, let go. Perfect. You're gonna get to this screen right here that says write firmware, restore EEPROM, or exit, or plug in the USB cable. If you didn't get to that screen, you didn't do it right, just keep trying it, turn it off, and try it again until you get to this screen. Pretty simple, press and let go at the same time, okay? Once we get to this screen, you're gonna take your USB cable right here, and you're gonna plug it in. And you should hear your computer chime like it recognizes a device. Here it goes. You can see the radio says now USB connected, right? And I'm gonna go ahead now and go to our computer screen, right here, and there you go. So in the event that your computer does not recognize the radio, I have a video on that I will put the link in here too, okay? And you'll understand what happens, because it will have I'll show you what will happen basically. So what you're going to do now is, now you're going to go and open the OpenTX program. Now, as what you can see here is the radio, the computer just read the files of our SD card and then our internal RAM, okay, or our ROM actually. So we've got our internal memory and then our SD card, and both of these just opened up. You will never, ever, ever want to mess with the Tyrannus E or Tyrannus folder. Leave that one alone. The only one you're going to mess with is the one that you labeled new volume when we formatted it, okay? You can close that down for now. And what you're going to do is you're going to go and open your OpenTX program right there, okay? Now we've got our radio plugged in, our radio says USB connected on it, and now we're here. So what we want to do now is we want to make sure that that firmware we downloaded on step 2, we're now ready to load. We also have everything on our SD card properly done, so we want to make sure to synchronize that with the hard drive and make sure they're both together, that they're both lined up properly. So here's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come find our icons here, because we downloaded the firmware, remember? We just didn't update the radio yet. So we're going to find our icons here. This icon with the arrow down says write firmware to radio. That's the one we want. So we're going to click it, all right? And now we've got to find the firmware that we downloaded. Well, you can click load, and you can go back to your desktop if you want, just to make sure. Find your transmitter folder, find your QX7 or whatever radio. Mine's a QX7S, so from this point on, my QX7S, you may be doing an X9D, find your radio folder, and find the SD card, go to the firmware folder, find your OpenTX-firmware folder, because that's what we put it in, and there it is. Double click it, and make sure that you have check hardware compatibility loaded, okay? Use firmware starter screen, check hardware compatibility, everything else is correct, click write to TX. You will see the progression bar, it's very quick, and it's going to be done in no time, okay? Now, when it says flashing done, you click close. Now, we want to, again, verify that our SD card is right. So you see this icon right here. This is the icon to synchronize the SD card with the SD card folder that we created on the hard drive. So click that, And make sure again, under local folder, click your folder, go to your desktop, go to your transmitter, go to your transmitter folder file, QX7S, and then double click the SD card folder. That's the right folder. Make sure it says SD card in here, click select folder. As far as the radio folder, click your folder. It may automatically know to default to it, but do it anyway just in case so you're familiar with it. Remember, you're not going to touch the Tyrannus. You're only going to go to the new volume. So click new volume right there, new volume D, select folder. Now, you have a chance to go ahead and run a test before you do it permanently. That's what this checkbox is for. It's going to synchronize in both directions, and it tells you right here you have options. Leave it as the default. Synchronize both directions to the folder, to the destination folder first, meaning go to the one that is the destination folder and go this direction, right? And then only if the files are newer, it wants you to compare the contents, right? So this is how we're going to do it. Leave everything as default. And if you want to run a test, you can, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to click start, and I'm going to watch. Now, we've got everything already on there because we copied it when we formatted the SD card. So everything's on there. So really all it's going to do right now is it's going to just make sure the files are right. We already moved them over. If they weren't on there, it would be copying right now, but this is a slower process, so that's why I had us copy it once we formatted the SD card in the computer. So you're going to see it checking, and the reason it says it's checking 614 is because there's 307 on the drive, and there's 300 on the computer, and there's 307 identical on the SD card. A total of 614 files have to be checked back and forth, okay? And you're going to see right now, 0 have been created, 0 have been updated, and you're going to see it say 614 have been skipped because they're identical, all right? So let's get to that point, and we're going to be done with this part. So just give it a second. I'm going to have my coffee, and we'll be back in just a minute as soon as this is finished. We're not done firmware updating, though. We still have to do the bootloader, and I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. So now that we're done, there's 0 errors, you can click close, okay? At this point, we are done with the firmware and everything except for the bootloader. We need to do that next. I'm going to show you how to do that right now, and then we'll be done with this video in particular, okay? So here's what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find our safely remove USB icon, and we're going to click on it, and we're going to eject the Tyrannus E first. Okay? Once that's ejected, we're going to click on it again, and we're going to eject new volume D next. Great. Now it's all gone. Now you can unplug your USB, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and make that the larger screen now. Now you see where everything is here, okay? Here's what I want you to pay attention to. At the bottom, let me see if I can zoom in for you guys. At the bottom, it says X7 2.3.11, but at the top it says bootloader is 2.3.10. So we have to get the bootloader to match our firmware on the bottom, right? So here's what we're going to do. You're going to scroll to exit.
Welcome to
Hit your enter key. And you may see some errors with your switches and throttle warnings and so forth. Okay. I'm hitting exit here to get out of these warnings. Okay. I'm at my main screen. What I want to do now is I want to hold my menu button down until I get to this screen here. Now menu is the center button here. Until I get to the tools screen. Okay. Then I want to click page. Now I'm at my SD card screen. I want to scroll down till I get to my firmware folder. Click enter. Now I want to see these look familiar, right? These are the folders that we created when we were setting up the SD card. Makes it much easier to navigate. I want to scroll down till I get to OpenTX. Hit enter. And there, as we can read it, because you imagine if the file was super long, you wouldn't be able to see half of this. You want to find your 2.3.11 and you want to click your button and hold it. Just a long press for like 2 seconds. And it says right here, Flash Bootloader. When it says that, click enter and let it start writing. That's it. It's done. It instantly done. Hit exit, hit exit, hit exit. Okay? Now, we can go ahead and turn the radio off by holding the power button down. Now, I'm just going to go back into that method where we held the sliders and hit the power button so I can show you that the bootloader is up to date. Ready? Watch. Now, if you look at the top screen, bootloader 2.3.11 and the bottom is 2.3.11. We are now perfect. Our radio is officially up to date, perfect, and ready to go. So that does it for this series. And I got dogs going crazy. Okay, so I got somebody here, I guess. So here's what we're gonna do. That stops it here. Oh, you know what I do want to show you though? Let me show you. When you're done to this point, scroll down to exit, hit enter.
Welcome to OpenTF.
Let it restart. When you get these error messages, don't worry about it. If you get some, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Now, power off your radio. It's off. Perfect. Okay. So we have just done our steps here now, which is OpenTX, set up OpenTX, download the files, set up our SD card, and now get our radio up to date. Your radio is literally up to date with everything it needs to function properly. The next series, what we're going to do is we're going to start jumping into the long range module because that seems to be where everybody has their biggest problem, okay? So we're going to start on here, get the R9M right here, all right? Now the edition I'm using is the standard R9M and not the 2019 edition that has access on it. We will do a whole thing on access as well, but this one is in particular because a customer asked me to do it, so we're going to jump into that next, and then we're going to go straight into binding into the R9 Slim OTA that is both access and ACCST firmware compliant, okay? If you have any questions, guys, as always, please head over to our Cyclone FPV group on YouTube or on Facebook, and then please, I cannot ask you enough, please subscribe to our channel below. My kids like it, and it looks cool. I don't know why, but it's cool. So that's that. All right, other than that, guys, God bless, be safe, and we will see you here shortly for the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye.